One smaller explosion. And then roughly 30 seconds later, this.
This was the fire in Beirut port. The flashes, they say, were fireworks. Then something much bigger ignited.
Blasts that shook a city and injured thousands. This was the first, coming just after 6 in the evening at Beirut's main port, sending up a plume of thick smoke. Beneath it, fires raging and flashes of light, filmed by nearby residents. None of them could have guessed what would happen next. A second massive explosion that some described as like an earthquake.
I see a very huge explosion.
The blast changed tens of thousands of lives in a matter of moments. In what should have been the best day of her life, Dr. Isra Sablani poses for her wedding photos.
This is CNN Breaking News.
There was a massive explosion. I mean, something the likes of I've never seen before.
It felt like an earthquake followed by a huge blast that blew out the windows in this, what was once our studio. We understand that the hospitals are overwhelmed at this point. This is the absolute worst thing that could have happened to Lebanon.
The windows of the CNN Bureau have been completely blown out. I'm looking at the buildings all around me. Many windows are also smashed. There's lots of glass and other debris in the street. There is still smoke rising from the port, and there was an odd red cloud hanging over the downtown district of Beirut.
Well, this explosion took place in the port area. It was preceded by some sort of fire. It appears in a warehouse, which, according to the official Lebanese National News Agency, contained fireworks. But what we felt, and in this building, this is where CNN's office used to be, it felt like an earthquake followed by a huge blast that blew out the windows in this, what was once our studio, and the window frames as well. Just panning the camera around, you can get an idea of the level of damage that happened. And this damage, of course, is duplicated throughout much of central Beirut. And in fact, I just got off the phone with a friend here in Beirut who said throughout the entire time she's lived here, through the civil war, never has she experienced and felt an explosion this large. And the same goes for me. I've been through wars here, civil wars, nothing along the lines of this explosion. Initially, I thought it was an earthquake. I thought that's what it was, but of course it was followed by this massive explosion which blew out the windows in this room, the windows next to us, our front glass doors, our neighbors. Every building has lost its windows, the frames blown out.
Just after 6 p.m. local time on Tuesday, the 4th of August,
the destruction is overwhelming. This is the port in Lebanon's capital, Beirut. Rubble everywhere, buildings blasted open, vehicles flipped and smashed. Those caught in it, those who survived, dazed.
Tuesday's massive explosion in Beirut has left much of the city destroyed and at least 135 people dead and thousands more injured. Buildings near the port where the blast occurred were reduced to rubble, with the destruction spanning kilometers from the explosion site. Windows were blown out of homes and shops up to 4 kilometers from the port. And Beirut's airport, which is more than 9 kilometers from the explosion site, also sustained.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News.
Much of Beirut is shattered this morning by one of the most powerful peacetime explosions ever. Look closely and you can see what happened. This is the port as a fire rages, popping and sparking. The flames swell to a noisy roar until the second blast. Other angles show the blast wave crumbling buildings like sandcastles. Traveling faster than the speed of sound, people couldn't get out of the way of the blast. Then came the bang. They filmed from passing cars miles away. A mushroom cloud hung over Beirut.
It's like an earthquake. I couldn't even take my breath.
The governor rushed to the scene and broke down, saying it reminded him of Hiroshima. The shockwave barreled through shops.
The footage, the pictures that you see on media is nothing compared to what's the situation is in Lebanon. What's the reality is. It's doomed, it's ruined, it's damaged, it's broken. Every single house in Beirut, it's ruined within 30 seconds. The damage is more than what people see on the media outside Lebanon. Beirut is down. Beirut is gone. People are dead.
George Faroun has come with a friend to see what they can salvage from the remains of his parents' apartment, which looked directly onto Beirut's port. Tuesday's blast turned it into a moonscape, a panorama of utter destruction. Dried blood marks the spot where his mother was resting in bed when the explosion sent a wall slamming on top of her.
Look what happened.
It's still so hard to wrap your mind around the enormity, the size of this blast. You can see a ship over there blown onto its side, and this massive area right here, this is where the storage unit housing that ammonium nitrate once stood. But this has largely shifted from being a search and rescue operation to one of recovery and cleanup at this stage. There were entire structures, buildings. There was a duty-free over there. All of it has been completely and utterly wiped out. The force of the blast spat out the contents of storage containers and then largely buried them under the rubble. This is ground zero, underneath this pile of destroyed grain. That they are standing on one of the columns of the silo that contained the country's grain supplies. Because of this destruction caused by the explosion, that means that the country has less than a month's supply of grain. But apart from the food insecurity problems, I'd like to just turn you around and maybe take you over here and show you a bit of the level of destruction. All that is the city of Beirut, if you like, and all those buildings that you can see in front of you are pretty much all damaged. They've all suffered terribly insecure and may have to be leveled or certainly restored in some way. Huge impact on the Lebanese economy, and one which the Lebanese economy minister was saying earlier today they simply can't recover from this.
First there was a fire, a huge column of smoke rising from Beirut's port, then a massive explosion. The force of the blast was so strong, its shockwaves blew out glass and tore buildings across the city, ripping balconies off onto the streets, even registering on US seismographs used to measure earthquakes. At least 100 people are confirmed dead, thousands are injured. The city's wounded in desperate need of care, looking to St. George's Hospital, but its medics can't enter the building since it is on the verge of collapse. They lost 4 nurses themselves. The sun rose Wednesday morning, revealing the devastating scene at Beirut's port. The explosion linked to 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate stored unsafely in a warehouse, the same material as the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995, but reportedly 1,000 times stronger. Officials aren't commenting on the cause of the explosion.
The port of Beirut has been reduced to a shadow of its former bustling self after the massive explosion. U.S. President Donald Trump is monitoring the situation in Beirut closely.
Let me begin by sending America's deepest sympathies to the people of Lebanon. Our prayers go out to all the victims and their families. The United States stands ready to assist Lebanon.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed shock and sorrow at the incident in Beirut. He said that the country's thoughts and prayers were with the victims' families. France's President Emmanuel Macron expressed solidarity with the people of Lebanon. Relief material from France is being transported to Lebanon. Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif announced on Twitter that his country is ready to assist Lebanon in this time of need. Even Israel has offered to send humanitarian aid to Lebanon, despite the ongoing tensions between the two countries. Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson expressed shock at the scenes that played out in Beirut. He said that the UK stands ready to help Lebanon. Saudi Arabia also expressed condolences to the families of the victims. The kingdom said that it stands in solidarity with the government and the people of Lebanon. Germany is working to provide immediate support to Lebanon. Australia's Prime Minister Scott Morrison also sent out a message of solidarity. He said that Australia stands ready to provide support to the Lebanese people.
Lebanese government has stood down following last Tuesday's catastrophic explosion in Beirut.
The Prime Minister gave his resignation to the President, but his government remains until a new one can be found.
لذلك أعلن اليوم استقالة هذه الحكومة.
The state is out in force in a shattered capital, carrying guns though, not brooms.
You shall know that surely indeed the Messiah is coming.
I am Samuel. I'm calling from Istanbul, Turkey, and you posted in the ministries, the group's WhatsApp group that you have a problem with the OBS. So just let me know and I can help you very quick. Okay. Samuel. Yes, but let me just
During the worship, I tried to sing, but I couldn't sing.
Porque cuando empezó a cantar, yo comencé a ver a dos personas en vez de una persona.
But when the man of God began to sing, I began to see two people instead of one.
Todo el tiempo que lo veo, no veo una, veo dos.
All the time when I look at them, I'm looking at two.
There are two. There are two.
There are
Yes,
two.
you are right. There are two.
With my eyes, I'm looking to
Lo estoy viendo con mis ojos.
the time.
Todo el tiempo.
You are two.
Con mis ojos. Son
Give her the microphone.
You are two all the time.
I am
one. You are two. I can see you with my eyes.
I know there are two.
I can see you all the time, so I can sing because
It is very mighty here today. Hallelujah! The Lord opened your eyes and you saw the two prophets up there today.
El Señor abrió sus ojos y vio los dos profetas allá arriba hoy.
My eyes.
Con mis ojos.
Yo pude verlo con mis ojos.
I could see them with my eyes.
Oh yes.
All the time.
Todo momento.
I can see you all the time at once. O sea, cuando yo te veo.
When I see you, I see two. You are two. There are two of you. All the time.
Todo el
The Lord has
tiempo que
opened
te veo.
The Lord has
No
opened
veo
your eyes.
uno, sino vi los videos donde te habían grabado dos personas y yo como soy productora.
So I've been looking at you all the time, and anytime I look at you, there are two. There are two of you.
I saw you on the conference, in Congress.
Yo lo he visto en toda la conferencia en la mañana.
Only
We
one.
were looking one.
Yes.
But then they show a video so many videos that show you that you are two.
Yes.
Because I am a filmmaker, I was thinking maybe it's a fake.
Entonces, yo soy productora de películas y yo pensé.
And then the Lord now answered you. Thank you very much.
I do that.
Entonces el Señor ahora te ha respondido.
Today, no, there is no fake.
I tell you.
I am here.
El Señor me mostró que no es algo inventado, es verdadero.
I am here.
Yo estoy aquí, son dos.
Hallelujah. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.
When the Lord spoke with me, and that conversation was quite a very shaking conversation.
Wakati Bwana alinena pamoja nami na hayo mazungumzo yalikuwa mazungumzo ya kushtua sana.
When the messenger came from heaven
Wakati mjumbe alikuja toka mbinguni
and stood right above the earth,
na akasimama pale juu ya dunia,
the messenger that was covered all over with bees up to the shoulder,
mjumbe aliyekuwa amefunikwa kote kote na nyuki mpaka mabegani,
with millions upon millions of bees.
na mamilioni juu ya mamilioni ya nyuki.
And I could see even his eyes, the eyelids, eyebrows, as the bees were dropping from the eyelids and so forth.
Na ningeweza kuona hata macho yake, kope za macho zake, na vile ambavyo nyuki walikuwa wakianguka toka katika hizo sehemu za macho.
And even as he spoke with me, I could see bees falling from the mouth as he opened the mouth speaking with me.
Na hata alipokuwa akinena pamoja nami, ningeweza kuona wale nyuki wakianguka toka kwa kinywa chake.
He that was sent to speak with me,
Ya kwamba yeye aliyetumwa akanene pamoja nami,
he looked exactly like he who speaks with you today.
anakaa sawa sawa kabisa na yeye anayewaneneeni leo hii.
And when he spoke,
Na aliponena,
he said, I have been sent to report to you.
akasema nimetumwa nikuripotie.
The Lord presented he that was sent to speak with me right in the sky above the earth. The entire face and the whole head, all the way to the shoulders, were fully covered with bees, the milieu of bees, stinging bees. He that was sent by Jehovah from heaven to come and speak with me, he presented like he that speaks to you now.
During the worship, I tried to sing, but I couldn't sing.
Porque cuando empezó a cantar, yo comencé a ver a dos personas en vez de una persona.
But when the man of God began to sing, I began to see two people instead of one.
Todo el tiempo que lo veo, no veo una, veo dos.
All the time when I look at them, I'm looking at two.
There are two. There are two.
There are
Yes,
two.
you are right. There are two.
With my eyes, I'm looking to.
Lo estoy viendo con mis ojos.
The time.
Todo el tiempo.
You are two.
Con mis ojos son dos.
Give her the microphone.
You are two all the time.
I am
one. You are two. I can see you with my eyes.
I know there are two.
I can see you all the time, so I can see because
It is very mighty here today. Hallelujah! The Lord opened your eyes and you saw the two prophets up there today.
El Señor abrió sus ojos y vio los dos profetas allá arriba hoy.
My eyes.
Con mis ojos.
Yo pude verlo con mis ojos.
I could see them with my eyes.
Oh yes.
All the time.
En todo momento.
I can see you all the time at twice. O sea, cuando yo te veo.
When I see you, I see two. You are two. There are two of you. All the time.
Todo el
The Lord has
tiempo que
opened
te
you.
veo.
The Lord has
No
opened
veo
your eyes.
uno, sino vi los videos donde te habían grabado dos personas y yo como soy productora.
So I've been looking at you all the time, and anytime I look at you, there are two. There are two of you.
I saw you all the conference in Congress.
Yo lo he visto en toda la conferencia en la mañana.
Only one. Looking one.
Yes.
But then they show a video that so many videos that show you that you are two.
Yes.
Because I am a filmmaker, I was thinking maybe it's a fake.
Yo soy productora de películas y yo pensé.
And then the Lord now answered you. Thank you very much.
I do that.
Dios el Señor ahora te ha respondido.
Today, no, there is no fake.
I tell you.
I am here.
El Señor me mostró que no es algo inventado, es verdadero.
I am here.
Yo estoy aquí, son dos.
Hallelujah. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.
The Lord has spoken to me about a very important event. He has spoken with me about the meeting that is coming up to Eldred. And I see there is this woman whose baby was crippled, born crippled, a crippled baby. And the baby is wearing, I think it's a sweater, it's whitish upper sweater. And in this particular case, the Lord has shown me this baby that was born totally crippled. And the baby is wearing a sweater. I think it's a sweater, the upper side, the whitish white sweater. I see the baby. And then when the man of God comes into the stadium at the gate, as he enters, the historic power hits the meeting, and the baby gets up and begins to walk. And I see the mother running in shock, trying to follow the baby.
The glory of the Lord utukufu wa Bwana is visiting here unatembelea hapa sasa hivi. I am announcing to you ninawatangazieni that this is the hour ya kwamba hili ndio saa when the glory of Jehovah wakati ambapo utukufu wa Yehova is visiting here unatembelea hapa. The glory of my Father utukufu wa baba yangu is right here uko papa hapa. Anything and everything chochote na kila kitu can happen and will happen kinaweza kutendeka na kitatendeka. Worship team, inueni mikono. Kikundi cha kuabudu, inueni mikono. Look at what is about to happen to the worship. Tazama kile ambacho kiko karibu kutendeka kikundi cha kuabudu. It has begun. Imekwisha anza. Look at that. Tazama hiyo. Receive your healing. The cripples be waiting. Everybody receive your healing. The glory now has been released. Utukufu sasa umewachiliwa. Is this the baby I was seeing? Mtoto nilikuwa naona katika ndoto with straight legs, akiwa na miguu ya aina hii. You know, I get to see all of them. Unajua ninawaona wote. I get to see them in the dream. Ninawaona wote katika ndoto. Let the baby come. Wacha mtoto akuje. I think big miracles have happened here. Na miujiza mikubwa imetendeka hapa. Look at this leg. Tazama hii miguu. Can you come to me? Je, unaweza kuja kwangu? Man of God, nabii wa Mungu. This is baby blessings. Huyu ni mtoto blessing. She was crippled since birth. Alikuwa kiwete tangia kuzaliwa. Where are you, Bishop? Uko wapi askofu? Okay, thank you. Was crippled since birth. Alikuwa kiwete tangia kuzaliwa. Due to cerebral palsy. Kwa sababu ya ugonjwa wa cerebral palsy. And she was using this walking aid. Na alikuwa akitembea kutumia hiki kitu. Now the baby has been healed. Lakini sasa mtoto ameponywa. The palsy is healed. Hiyo palsy imeponywa. The baby's legs are strong. Na hiyo miguu yake ya mtoto imetiwa nguvu. The baby can now walk. Na mtoto sasa anaweza kutembea. Come baby. Njoo mtoto. Come baby. Njoo mtoto. Come baby. Njoo mtoto. You see, unaona, they were trying to strengthen the legs. They were trying. Walikuwa wanajaribu to use this. Come baby, come to hii. Over here. Upande huu. Over here. Upande huu. Na kumpatia soda. And give me soda. How precious. This baby was crippled. Huyu mtoto alikuwa kiwete.
Unajua hii? What is this?
So this baby was crippled.
Kwa hivyo huyu mtoto alikuwa
Huyu
kiwete.
mtoto wako?
Yes, she's my daughter.
Nini ilitendeka?
What happened?
Cerebral palsy.
She was sick of a sickness called cerebral palsy. Since birth up to 3 years. Since birth up to 3 years.
The slight brain damage. 150,000 shillings was needed for the brain scan and abroad, right?
Ilihitajika shilingi 150,000 afanyiwe uchunguzi.
What happened to the baby here?
Nini kilimtendekea mtoto hapa?
Ulijuaje ametembea? How did you know?
Ulijuaje ametembea?
Pastor Jen mwenye tulipia fare kukuja hapa anaitwa Pastor Jen. Ni wa hapa Eldoret kwa church yenu. Ndio alituma fare Nairobi tukuje.
Okay.
Ndio amekuja akamwambia baby kama akaamka na akamfuata na akopata.
No, explain to me. These things were used for what?
Hivi vitu vilikuwa vinatumika kufanya nini?
Na kutengeneza miguu aweze kutembea.
So these legs were, oh yes, I saw these legs, yes. Yes, I saw these legs in the dream.
Niliona hii miguu katika ndoto.
Ulitoaje hizi vitu? How did you remove this? I always want to know.
Kila wakati nataka
That moment when the Lord struck.
Huo wakati ambapo Bwana alimguza.
How did you know that it's time to remove? Ulijuaje ni wakati wa kutoa?
Huwa anatoa na kumrudisha. Wakati Pastor Jenny amekuja akamwambia kuja, alipomfuata akiwa ametembea nazo na atembeaji na hizi vitu, nikamtoa na akawaa.
Okay, no, I don't want to confuse it. Atembeange bila hizi.
Anatembea nazo.
Oh, hii akivaa anashikiliwa. Oh, so even with this, she has to be supported.
Hata akitumia hizi inabidi asaidiwe.
The Lord has done a very big miracle here.
Bwana amefanya muujiza mkubwa sana hapa.
She's saying
anasema
that these things here,
ya kwamba hivi vitu hapa,
even with them,
hata akiwa navyo,
she has to be supported.
Ilibidi asaidiwe, ashikiliwe.
Because the legs were very weak like this.
Kwa sababu miguu ilikuwa dhaifu tu.
And they were saying
na walikuwa wanasema
that over time when they use this it will strengthen the legs.
Ya kwamba kwa fulani kutumia itatia nguvu.
But they wanted to go scan for the brain.
Lakini walitaka waende wafanye uchunguzi ya ubongo.
Now listen to me here.
Sasa nisikize hapa.
Pastor Jen akamwambia kuja tembea wewe.
Mchungaji Jen akamwambia come and walk here.
Wakati baada amevaa hizo, si ndio? Wakati baada amevaa. Alafu ulijuaje ni wakati wa kutoa hii?
How did you know this?
Somebody let's shout to the Lord.
Mtu tupazie Bwana sauti. Hallelujah.
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 This is mighty.
Hii ni kubwa.
This is very mighty.
Hii ni kubwa sana.
Baby come.
Mtoto njoo.
In front of television.
Mbele ya runinga.
Come to me.
Njoo kwangu, njoo kwangu.
This is very powerful.
Hii ni ya nguvu sana.
Baby, come.
Njoo mtoto, njoo mtoto.
Come.
Njoo.
You are looking at the guests.
Unaangalia wageni.
But walk with me on this side.
Lakini tembea pamoja nami upande huu.
Because you know when the Lord shows me this,
wakati Bwana ananionyesha hii
in the dreams,
katika ndoto,
it is also overwhelming.
Pia inashangaza.
Because he showed this one,
Sasa unakuonyesha hii, anakuonyesha huyu.
Let us continue, baby.
Wacha tuendelee mtoto.
Fanta is sweet.
Fanta ni tamu.
And the miracles are sweet.
Na miujiza ni tamu.
Hallelujah.
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 This is it now.
Ndio hii sasa.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
What the Lord has done.
Kile ambacho Bwana ametenda.
I always tell